How's it going, my friend? Today we're going to talk about the 80-20 rule to radically improve every area of your life, whether it is making your first $1 million online, like I have, whether it's manifesting the best relationship of your life and manifesting love again, like I have, or if it's working on your fitness and physique, like I'm currently in the journey of right now that you get to see, or if anything in life, anything that you're going through in life that you want to improve, okay? So, the 80-20 rule changed my life. Now, it's originally called Pareto's Principle. You may have heard of it. I don't use it the same way, but I like just the breakdown. So, for example, and you can apply this to anything you're working on, okay? Just improving your happiness, your relationships, your health, your money, anything, okay? I was supposed to go to the gym today. I went to sleep very late last night. I was up with a special someone and went to bed very late, the early hours of the morning, some could say. And so I decided to sleep in because I can, because I create my own schedule. So I think I ended up going to bed around 5, and I woke up around. I mean, like my eyes kind of kept waking up, right? Like around like 10, 11. I think I got out of bed like around 12:30. So I kind of started my day around 12:31, which is pretty late, not very typical, not something I do. I like to usually wake up around like 10 or 11, sometimes 9ish, but usually it ends up being like around 10, 11, right? So anyway, that's these days. We'll talk about more about routine schedules in a different video because I'm changing up that as well to just get more things done that I'm very excited about in life, okay? But what happened is that because I was kind of off and just kind of taking the day slow, I still, because I'd made going to the gym non-negotiable Monday through Friday, I mentioned that in the last few videos, I was like, I still have to go. Like, I could take the day off, but I was like, no. I said, no matter what, I'm gonna go. And for now, what I said was, I'm just gonna go. Even like the bare minimum days I'm tired or like I'm behind or something or it's just late, I'm just gonna show up. I'm just gonna do one workout, right? And originally I had said I'll do one workout. Then I kind of altered it to how could I still stay committed to the non-negotiable of showing up to the gym, but also make it even easier just in the beginning so that I don't quit, you know? Because when you set two big goals, like when you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go 2 hours every day, you end up getting tired and then you're like, fuck this, and you give up altogether. And I said, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna stick to my word. But one of the ways of doing that is giving myself time to slowly get there. Like you build step by step so that everything you're doing can get easier. You want to set up a non-negotiable, but you also want to make it doable, right? And then kind of make it harder as you go along and as you can experience that. So anyway, whew, my hair's flying everywhere. It's like a Bollywood scene. Got the fan on. So what ended up happening was that I got to the gym. I think this was like a few days ago, and there was one day where I just was so fucking tired, did not feel like lifting weights because I said I'd do one workout. So I was like, let me swap that for at least 20 minutes of cardio. That made the goal more doable. So I was like, hey, on certain days where I just like feel like shit, I'll just do 20 minutes of walking on a treadmill, bare minimum. Or I can do a workout. And when I usually do a workout, I do 1 or 2 workouts now, and then I'll do some cardio, like walking at the end, right? For now, that's what I'm currently doing, okay? But today I went in, again, just didn't feel like going to work out, but I went anyway, stayed committed. I actually almost was like, you know what, it's just one day, but I was like, nope, we're not doing it, we're staying committed. So proud of myself for that. I feel so much better for having gone. There's so many benefits just going to the gym in general. The social benefit, you get to see people, be around people, all like worried about their fitness or working on their fitness, doing something to improve their life. So I think it's just a great environment to be in general. If you've kind of been in a funk lately, I highly recommend going. So, anyways, I get there and then I ended up just doing about 15 minutes of cardio because something came up. I had to leave, and I was actually I was starving because right by now it's like 3:30, almost 4 p.m. and I haven't had any food, and it's okay because I can kind of intermittent fast sometimes. And I had like a very late night dinner, I guess, like pretty late night, so it's not like I hadn't eaten in a long time, but I was just feeling really hungry, so I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's just end it. I had to like, there was a voice message I needed to send, a phone call I needed to make, so I decided to do that. So I ended up doing 15 minutes, and so was it perfect? No. But am I still glad I went? Yes. Am I still glad that I got those 15 minutes of steps in on the treadmill, some cardio? Yes. Am I glad that I actually committed to driving and dressing up, going there, walking in, checking in? Yes. Because what I'm doing is I'm building the discipline for the man that I want to be. Right? I want to be a man that sticks to my word. I want to be a man that is committed this year, especially into creating his physical transformation. And I want to be a man who is consistent with the things that he's consistent with because as much as I've had the last few years of kind of like a free fall of like, oh, let's just do whatever the hell we want, it's been great. But then I've also noticed like sometimes that much freedom feels kind of boring or feels kind of bad or weird at times, right? Because you're not doing the things also that are moving you ahead because you've just given yourself so much freedom. So freedom I want you to have, but then I think it's also important. I just watched a video of Christopher Bumstead talking about this CBUM, about how it's so important to just, create certain structure and discipline in your life for alignment. And I love that. I love that he of all people use that word, because that's what my life is all about, is just finding that alignment, doing things and thinking things that feel better, right? And doing that day to day, because that's what we're all here for, is to constantly find that alignment, to constantly feel better, right? So basically, long story short, I did an 80-20, right? Meaning that with today, I showed up to the gym and I didn't do the workout, but when I asked myself, like, how could I still, do 80% of what I told myself I'd do, 80% of it was just showing up and doing something. So I showed up and did 15 minutes of cardio. That was 80% of it for me. So I'm good to go. So that's one way that I apply the 80-20, and now I apply it to my nutrition as well. So right now, I'm trying to do about 20%. I'll allow myself sugar and flour for now. Other 80% trying to eat clean. And you'll be surprised, like, when you say clean, we always used to think of like bland, boring foods, because unfortunately, so many fucking American foods are so bland. I mean, what, do you just use salt and pepper? That's crazy, right? Not me. I'm glad that a lot of Americans, even like, Caucasian Americans or whoever you are using more spices and hot sauce and all sorts of stuff, because growing up South Asian Desi, I mean, it's all about the spices. Otherwise, there's no taste to your meat. There's no taste to your food, your vegetables, your rice, anything. So you can eat pretty clean, like, having less sugar, less flour, and still have really tasty, amazing foods. And so that's something that I'm kind of experimenting, trialing right now. And it's been pretty good because I lost weight last week. I'm going to weigh in again on Monday. I know I'm going to lose a little bit of weight this week as well. So we're making good progress. I'm very excited about that. And I'm following the 80-20 rule, which is, 20% of the time, I'll allow myself within the meals I have for the day, eat whatever I want. 80%, it's kind of sticking to just getting enough protein in. The rest of it I can fill up with, some carbs and fats and stuff, right? So that's like another way you can apply it. Another way you can do it is, of course, for business goals. Let's say that, in order to make money in your online business or to get started or to like make that 10K a month or whatever, you believe you have to do XYZ. So then ask yourself, like, hey, these are going to be the non-negotiables. Always start with a non-negotiable. I always say that, like, for me, for business, like, for example, for this YouTube channel, my non-negotiable is creating a video a day, Monday through Friday, right? And so that's one of my non-negotiables right now, but that's something I enjoy doing anyway. Now, if there's a day or two, like, obviously the weekends I'm not, because I'm always out and about and just kind of enjoying my social life, which is equally important to me and I want to do. But Monday through Friday, I want to have that structure and discipline. So if I do miss a day or two, let's say I'm not feeling well, I'm sick, whatever, totally fine. Again, that kind of falls into the 80-20 for the week, right? But for the most part, I want to be disciplined and structured. And I want to envision myself having a ton of followers and a ton of people and a ton of fans who are waiting for my videos, like really manifesting that. And the way for me to embody being that version of me now is by showing up as if I already have people waiting for my videos, which means that I'd be excited to shoot every day. I'd be excited to put out content every day to help you, right? So that's one way you can kind of think about business in terms of like online, like if you're a content creator, if you want to be a content creator, like what could be the non-negotiable? Maybe for you, it's not once a day, maybe it's once a week. And then, like, what would be the 80-20 of that? So as long as I did 80% of that, right? Like maybe 80% of it was just like showing up, recording something and posting it. The other 20% would have been like maybe editing, or you really care about the background and you really care about the thumbnail, but like you didn't have time to do that. So you left out that 20%, but you still did 80%, you just posted it, right? So maybe that's your 80%. So that's like another example, right? For relationships, like one of my 80-20s is like with my person, my beloved, we have to talk every single day, right? Like we try to meet up as much as we can as well. We try to spend time together. Obviously, both of us have very ambitious, big lives. So, we try to do that. But at the same time, it's like if we're just going to talk on the phone or text, and some evenings, like I'm hanging out with other people and other friends and other family, or I just want some me time and vice versa, then we make sure that at least we're having communication every single day, right? So it's like every morning we'll have some communication, like whether it's like a good morning text, whatever. Then we'll have maybe some voice messages, some like funny memes, videos and stuff I like to share. Just to make each other laugh. And then usually in the evening or nighttime, we'll spend time together, or we'll talk on the phone or text, right? So that's like a non-negotiable for me, is like there has to be like daily communication or spending time, significant time together, right? And of course, this depends on your circumstance. It depends, on your relationship, if you guys are living together or not, if you're married or not, whatever. There's factors to that. but that's kind of like my non-negotiable. So within that, how can I do 80/20, right? So like maybe we're supposed to hang out 3 times this week, right? We schedule to like hang out, like over the weekend, 2 days over the weekend, 1 day on a weekday, right? But for some reason I can't, right? Or there's something else going on, or something else that's like other like priority. Like for example, one of my best friends just bought a house, so I'm gonna go like see his house and kind of help him move and stuff. There's like things that come up that I also want to do and participate in, but this relationship also matters to me. So how about we, still meet up for those 2 days on the weekend? We're still gonna make the most of it, but this one day, is it okay if we kind of just not make that happen just for this one week, right? So that's my way of kind of doing the 80/20, where it's like I'm still committing 80% to it, 20% I can give myself some wiggle room. Now, this doesn't mean that you want, every week or every day to be like it has to be 80/20. Aim for 100, aim for excellence, aim for 100%, whatever non negotiable you're setting. But I think that having the 80/20 rule has really helped me, because when you think about it logically, when you're getting 80% of something done, you're still getting most of it done, right? 80% in school here in America meant like a B, right? Like a B minus, right? I learned this method from one of my teachers, Brooke Castillo. She always taught us the B minus method. Then I taught it to my students, and it was just like, hey, if it's like, she meant it for posting content. If it's like B minus, put it out, it's good enough, right? It doesn't have to be B plus, it doesn't have to be A plus or 100 like we're used to in school. Just B minus, good enough, put out, and then continue to improve yourself as you go along, and your B minuses will turn into A pluses eventually, right? So that can really be applied to anything. And so it just gives you some wiggle room to not try to be perfect, because I've noticed myself when I set new goals, like, hey, I'm gonna go to the gym Monday through Friday, or I'm gonna, make this much money in my business, or I'm gonna, do this and that. What happens is that if I'm trying to be perfect, like 100%, I'll get really mad at myself if I don't do it perfectly. And the thing is, like, when you're starting anything, you're not going to be perfect, right? So the first 2 to 4 weeks, I'd say the first 2 weeks to 2 months will be a lot of trial and error. Even like going to the gym Monday through Friday, like, what exactly am I doing? What workouts am I going to do? Like, I thought I was going to do this program, but that doesn't feel right for the stage I'm in. Maybe I should do this instead. There's a lot of trial and error going on in general, just when you're really figuring out, like, this new version of me who does this new thing, who has these habits, who has this routine, figuring out how you're going to do the routine, how it's going to fit into your life, is the 80/20. Like 20% of your mental energy would kind of just go into trial and error, because you're not going to have like a set thing yet, right? You're still figuring it out. So you can allow that to be like the 80/20 also. It's like 80% of it, I'm just going to show up. 20%, I'm going to allow myself to fuck up and mess up, because I'm figuring out how to actually incorporate these new habits and new things into my life. Okay. So 80/20, use it from now on. Like I said, I think it's important to have non-negotiables. And, especially the teachings I've learned the last few years, especially from Abraham Hicks, I love the concept of life is supposed to feel good. You're here to have fun, which I 100% totally resonate with and agree with. However, it's like we add structure and discipline to our lives, because that is what feels good, that is what's fun. It makes you feel better day to day, like progress equals happiness, like Tony Robbins always said. But then long term, you also get everything you want. I think that's the dance you want to have. It's like we want to have the short term and the long term pleasure and the joy and the fulfillment and the alignment and the empowerment and all the good things that come with it. And so it's funny because, so much is taught out there of like, grind and hustle and like, just fuck happiness and like do things you don't want when you don't feel like it. And I don't agree with that. But then I also agree with, yeah, there will be certain times where you don't feel like doing something, but you still want to do it for the long term gain. I think that's one of the topics I'm going to spend a lot more time studying in the next few years, is like, why is there a push pull between instant gratification and delayed gratification? Does delayed gratification work for us because we dominantly believe that that's what we must do to get rewarded? Is it all just I guess it's just made up, right? It's made up by us, by men and women, made up by man, right? It's a man-made thing, because it's just what we chose to believe, and so now we're manifesting that as our reality, right? I'm going to study this topic more and more, and look at different examples of people who I see are happy and successful or have the life that I want, and see like how much of their life where do they really delay gratification, where what I mean by that is, hey, I'm going to, like, for example, I'm going to go to the gym today even though I didn't feel like going, right? It's like something I didn't want to do, but I wanted to stay committed to what like I wanted to stay committed to the version of the man I want to be. And I asked myself at night, would I feel more proud of myself having gone to the gym or not having gone to the gym? And I knew my answer would have been having gone to the gym, right? So I think it's also a matter of like self-respect and pride, which is very important for us, right? To feel, because that does make us feel better. So it's very interesting, right? So like this whole push and pull of like, why is it that we're wanting to, not do something in the moment, but then we have to remind ourselves, no, but this will pay off, or this will give us delayed gratification. Like it will make us feel better later. Like it's very interesting, that push and pull that we have as humans, right? I feel like it's kind of like what makes the game of life interesting, you know? So I'll dive way more deep into that on a spiritual and mental and emotional level, and we can make a lot more videos and content about that. I think we can talk about that a lot more as well in the King's Club, because I think it's a very important topic and it can apply to all of you in very different ways, you know? So that's that. Use the 80/20 rule. Again, pick one non negotiable for the area of life or areas, multiple areas of life that you want to improve right now. Why? Because you want to live your best life. I want you to be your happiest, best self. Okay. That may look different for all of you. Doesn't matter. Yours doesn't have to look like anybody else's. It just has to be right for you. Right? If it makes you happy, if it makes you feel better, that's the life you want to design. So pick one non negotiable in that area or multiple areas of your life, and then add the 80/20 rule. Okay, apply the 80/20. You don't have to be perfect at it, just 80%. Try to get at least 80% done. Like the example I gave, Monday through Friday, non negotiable, I must go to the gym for now, right? Like for the next few months, that's like my goal, right? So I must do that. That is essentially the 80%. Now, once I get there, what I decide to do, what I decide to not do, change things up based on how I'm feeling, that could be the 20% wiggle room, the cushion I give myself. Okay? So I hope this helped, my friends. I'm sure it did. Confident it did. If you'd like more content like this, if you'd like to coach with me directly, hang out with me directly in Houston and various cities across the US, and then eventually international trips where we'll hang out, create a brotherhood, lifelong friends, where the whole mission is just to live your best life, create the best life, and really help you with all the things that have helped me get success in my life and more freedom in my life. It's just sharing that with you, helping you with that, coaching you through the things that you're struggling with, and really having a brotherhood, a community that you feel like you belong to. So if you're looking for something like that, go ahead and click the link in the first comment or in the show notes. Join the King's Club, and I'll see you there. Bye.